Imagine traveling to a private island, dressed in all white, standing in a crowd that treats a Hollywood actor like a messiah. It sounds surreal, maybe even unbelievable, but for Jared Leto's most loyal followers, this isn't a fantasy. It's their reality. Most people know Jared Leto as the actor, a man who takes method acting to extremes, whether starving himself for Dallas Buyers Club or transforming his body entirely for roles. Others know him as the rock star, the flamboyant frontman of 30 Seconds to Mars, a performer who blurs the line between art and ego. But for a devoted group of fans who call themselves the Echelon, Jared Leto is more than either of those things. He is a figure to be followed, celebrated, and in some cases, even worshipped. They describe his performances as religious experiences. They smile proudly when they say outsiders just wouldn't understand. And that's exactly the point. Leto has built something that doesn't just feel like a fan club. It feels like a movement, one that turns concerts into ceremonies and music into something closer to faith. And to understand how he reached that point, you have to go back, not to his controversial Joker in Suicide Squad, not even to the internet's mockery of Morbius, but to the rise of his band, the foundation of everything that would follow. Before the cult comparisons, before the white robes and private islands, Jared Leto was simply a rising star in Hollywood. In the mid-90s, his breakout role on My So-Called Life made him a heartthrob overnight. Soon he was appearing in cult classics like Fight Club, American Psycho, and Requiem for a Dream, proving he had the talent and range to stand alongside the best of his generation. But acting alone wasn't enough for him. In 1998, Jared and his brother Shannon launched a band called 30 Seconds to Mars. At first, many assumed it was just another actor's side project, the kind of vanity band destined to fade quickly. But it didn't. Instead, it exploded. Their mix of anthemic rock and emotional themes connected with audiences on a deep level. Songs about struggle, love, and survival resonated with fans, especially in the mid-2000s when their single, The Kill, became a radio staple. 30 Seconds to Mars set a Guinness World Record for the most concerts during a single album cycle, performing hundreds of shows across continents. Jared's magnetic stage presence and mysterious persona only fueled the devotion. Fans didn't just like the music, they lived for it. They began calling themselves the Echelon, a name rooted in military hierarchy, symbolizing loyalty and unity. They tattooed the band's triad logo on their bodies, traveled across the globe to attend multiple shows, and created their own insider language and traditions. And Jared encouraged it. He framed the Echelon as more than a fan club. It was a family. Critics raised eyebrows when the band released merch that literally said, "Yes, this is a cult." At the time, it was brushed off as a joke. But looking back, it feels more like a warning. This was the moment the lines started to blur. Jared wasn't just an entertainer anymore. He was building a following, one that looked more like devotion than fandom. By definition, a cult often forms around a charismatic leader, someone who inspires loyalty so strong that followers begin to separate themselves from outsiders. For Jared, that description started to fit a little too well. Jared leaned into the image, appearing on stage in flowing robes, performing from elevated platforms, and conducting himself less like a singer and more like a messiah. When Jared is on stage, you don't question him. Meanwhile, online, his social media captions often carried the cryptic phrase you wouldn't understand. The Echelon quickly adopted it as a mantra. It wasn't just a slogan, it was a dividing line. They belonged to something outsiders couldn't comprehend, and Jared made sure they believed it. Bit by bit, Leto's fan base was evolving into something less like a community and more like a congregation. And Jared wasn't slowing down. He was only getting started. By the mid-2010s, Jared Leto had taken the cult comparisons from metaphor to reality. In 2015, he launched an event called Camp Mars. At first glance, it looked like a simple fan retreat. A few days in the woods with acoustic shows, group activities, and a chance to meet the band. But the details painted a very different picture. This wasn't just a fan meet and greet. It was packaged as a once-in-a-lifetime spiritual experience with multiple ticket tiers. Fans could choose between basic tent camping or pay thousands for VIP packages that promised closer access to Jared himself. Activities included yoga sessions, group meditations, and outdoor games, but the real selling point wasn't nature. It was proximity to their idol. And for Jared, that was only the beginning. In 2019, he scaled things up with Mars Island, a 3-day retreat held on a private island in Greece. Tickets started at $1,700 and soared to over $7,000 for premium packages. Fans flocked there, many dressed in ceremonial white, participating in what looked less like a festival and more like a ritual. Photos from the retreat quickly went viral. Jared could be seen draped in flowing robes, speaking to followers who sat cross-legged at his feet, hanging on his every word. His performances at the event were even dubbed the Church of Mars. Critics immediately drew comparisons to groups like Scientology or NXIVM, where loyalty and money are intertwined. Devotion wasn't just measured by passion anymore. It was measured by how much you were willing to spend. Even while building his Church of Mars, Jared never abandoned his career in Hollywood. If anything, his reputation for obsession only grew stronger. He was already known for extreme transformations, starving himself for Dallas Buyers Club, gaining dangerous amounts of weight for Chapter 27. But it was his turn as the Joker in Suicide Squad that cemented his reputation as Hollywood's most notorious method actor. Instead of focusing on performance, Jared chose shock tactics. Reports from the set claimed he sent disturbing gifts to cast members, including live animals and other bizarre items. He insisted it was all part of staying in character, but to many, it felt less like dedication and more like harassment. His co-stars, trying to stay professional, smiled through interviews, but couldn't hide their discomfort. Audiences weren't impressed either. When the film finally released, his version of the Joker was widely criticized, exaggerated, chaotic, and ultimately forgettable. The backlash online was intense. What Jared framed as artistic commitment was viewed by many as self-indulgence that created chaos without delivering results. When pressed on the controversy later, he tried to downplay it. He claimed stories had been exaggerated, that the so-called gifts were taken out of context. The Joker saga became a turning point. It showed the public a version of Jared Leto who wasn't just eccentric but reckless, a man who blurred the line between art and ego and expected everyone else to accept it. By the 2020s, Jared Leto's cult reputation was already cemented, but his career took another unexpected turn with the release of Morbius in 2022. Marketed as Sony's next big superhero movie, it was supposed to elevate him into Marvel stardom. Instead, it became one of the most mocked films of the decade. Critics trashed it, audiences laughed at it, and online, it spiraled into meme infamy. The phrase "it's Morbin time," which was never in the movie, spread across social media like wildfire. For weeks, the internet treated Morbius as a punchline, a symbol of Jared Leto's over-the-top ambition colliding with disastrous execution. But here's the strange part. Instead of killing his reputation, the meme era gave it new life. Sony even re-released the film in theaters, hoping to cash in on the ironic hype, only for it to flop a second time. And yet, Jared himself leaned into the chaos. Even when he fails spectacularly, his cult-like following shields him. The backlash becomes part of the story. The criticism becomes another layer of mystique, and the devotion never fades. In Hollywood, he still lands major roles. Studios keep casting him in blockbuster projects despite his reputation for chaos on set. In the end, controversy doesn't weaken Jared Leto, it strengthens the mythology. To his critics, he's manipulative. To his fans, he's untouchable. And to the industry, he's profitable. That combination ensures that no matter how bizarre the stories become, Jared Leto's career keeps going. Is Jared Leto truly leading a cult? Or is this all just another performance, a carefully crafted illusion designed to keep us watching? Let me know what you think in the comments below.